Hello again, my name is Anthony, and this is my review for The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 4. As I've been doing in these, I'm going to start here by giving a little bit of context about my thoughts going into the episode, and then I will talk generally about my thoughts on it before I go into specifics. And just to be clear, I will warn you before I get into any spoiler territory. Remember that everything I have to say is just my opinion, and if you want to share yours down in the comments, I'll be happy to read them. With all that down, let's go ahead and get started with this. So just to kind of review my general thoughts on the season so far, I really love this show overall. I didn't love the premiere, but I thought the last two episodes were outstanding. I saw that this episode was being directed by Carl Weathers, which didn't really excite me or make me nervous. I thought his episode last season was fine, but because of the upward trajectory this season has been going for me, I was really excited going into this one. I thought this episode was mediocre at best. There were several good, even great moments, but there were so many moronic decisions that they made that pulled me out of the episode. Last week's episode felt to me like a mix of The Mandalorian and Andor. This week's episode felt like a mix of Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, which, if you know me, is not a compliment. I thought the Book of Boba Fett was a terrible, terrible show. I know this is something I complain a lot about, but I have to mention the runtime. This episode, with the intro and credits, is just a hair over 30 minutes long. That is the shortest episode of Mandalorian in the show's history. And I've never felt it so much as I did this time around. Like, I feel like I just got settled on the couch and the episode was over. And I don't mean that in like a, oh, it was so good the time flew by kind of situation. No, I mean like, why did I even bother inviting people over kind of situation. And I felt like because it was so short, there was never going to be enough content to satisfy me. It's like if I order chicken nuggets for dinner and I'm given one chicken nugget. No matter how good that nugget is, I'm still going to be hungry. I also thought the editing was a little over the top for me, which to some of you might seem ironic because I've been accused of over the top editing. It's kind of a minor complaint, but it really was noticeable to me. I have to say I loved Bo-Katan in this episode. She has consistently been the standout of this season to me, and I really look forward to seeing more from her. Okay, so now that I've given kind of my general impressions on the episode, I'm going to talk more about the specific events of the episode now. And to be clear, I will be talking in a full spoiler context from this point forward. You have been warned. So the episode starts and they're back on the beach that they were on at the beginning of the premiere. In case you forgot, the last time that they were on this beach is when the giant sea alligator beast jumped out of the water and ate several Mandalorians and injured many more. But I guess they all forgot about that and they're just hanging out on the beach. Din sees Grogu kind of playing with some rock crabs on the beach, and he kind of picks him up and takes him over to where the younglings are learning combat. Grogu and this other foundling have a paintball duel with some inconsistencies in their rules, because in the first two rounds of the duel, the other foundling can only shoot Grogu once, yet in the third round, Grogu can shoot him 3 times in a row and is declared the winner. That made me kind of raise my eyebrow a little bit, but whatever, we'll move on from that. I like that we're seeing Grogu start to train as a Mandalorian now. We've seen him train as a Jedi with Luke, and even before Luke, and now we're starting to see him learn the ways of Mandalorians, which I'm guessing he will eventually be some sort of mixing of the two, like Tar Vizsla was. And just like last time they were on the beach, a giant beast comes in and causes trouble for them. A big winged creature swoops in and grabs a youngling and flies off. Din and some other Mandalorians try to fly after it with their jetpacks, but their jetpacks run out of fuel and they are unable to catch it. Bo-Katan does the smart move of hopping in her ship and following it, and is able to find where it lives. So she reports back to the convert and says, I know where it is, I can lead a party out to it and we can get it and get the child back safely. So Bo leads a party to the mountain to retrieve the kid. Meanwhile, the armorer does what she does best and starts making armor in front of Grogu. And for some reason, this is the moment they chose to show us the flashback of how Grogu got out of the temple. I guess they had to fit it in somewhere, and so they just kind of shoehorned it in right here, but it kind of felt out of place to me to put it right there. This flashback sequence to me was the best part of the episode, in my opinion. If you don't understand that pun, you'll understand it a little bit, I promise. Despite several fan theories, Grogu was not in fact saved by Kunlun Vos, Mace Windu, Ahsoka Tano, Anakin Skywalker, or any other character that has ever been on screen in the prequels or the Clone Wars. Nope. He was saved by a character by the name of Kelleran Beck, played by none other than Ahmed Best. Do you get the pun now? For those of you that don't know, Ahmed Best did the voice and motion capture for the infamous character Jar Jar Binks in the prequel. I loved seeing Ahmed Best come back to the Star Wars universe. Thankfully, though, not as Jar Jar. Without getting too deep into it, Ahmed Best went through a lot of personal struggles to the point of suicidal thoughts at some points. because of the backlash he received for playing the character of Jar Jar. He's kind of talked openly about how that backlash kind of ruined his life. Now, I hate Jar Jar with a passion, but I have never once blamed Ahmed Best for playing the role. He just did the job of an actor. He was given that role and he played it to the best of his ability. It was just a badly written character. So if you're going to blame anybody for Jar Jar, it's George Lucas. By the way, Kelleran Beck is not a brand new character. Ahmed Best played the character when he hosted a kids game show in 2020 called Star Wars Jedi Temple Challenge.
Hello, Padawans. My name is Jedi Master Kelleran Beck, and these are my trusty droids 83
Hey-yo!
and LXR5.
This was a very cool sequence, seeing Beck get Grogu and bring him to safety out of the temple. They get to a ship that was waiting for them, which begs the question, who arranged the ship? Because interestingly, those were Naboo guards by the ship. So who could it be? Could it be Padme for some reason? Or the current queen of Naboo? Could it be Palpatine, given that he's from Naboo? Or could it be... No, it can't be. It's not Jar Jar, right? Right? Or, like Beck, it could be somebody that we have never heard of. Regardless, this was definitely my favorite part of the episode, and I loved this sequence. So Grogu snaps out of the flashback, and the armorer gives him a cartoonishly oversized plate of armor to go over his chainmail that he's already wearing. Moving on, Bo and the gang of Mandalorians are now at the base of the mountain, on top of which rests the great beast, and they decide to let the kid, if he's still alive, marinate in the beast's gut in its stomach acid while they eat dinner and sleep it off. Don't forget, there's a strong likelihood that this kid has already been ripped to pieces and fed to the bird's children at this point, but nah, they need some dinner and sleep before they attack it in the bright day. And in this scene, Paz Vizsla says something to the effect of, it always gets away. It always gets away? How many times has this happened before? If it always gets away, why do you always chase it with a jetpack? Why don't you ever do what Bo-Katan just did and use a ship? You're telling me none of those Mandalorians have a ship? And if so, how did they all get there to that planet? Because they were not all there before. Why do you still hang out there on the beach if your kids keep getting taken and eaten by monsters? Anyway, as dinner is being handed out, Bo-Katan asks Din how she's supposed to eat without taking off her helmet. He tells her to go off somewhere secluded, and when there's nobody around, you can take off your helmet and eat. I really like that we're seeing Bo start to adjust to the customs. Paz Vizsla tells her that because she is leading the charge here, she has the honor of sitting by the fire to eat. So she does. She waits until everybody is gone, takes off her helmet, and eats her dinner. I love seeing that she is starting to care about the cultures and customs of this group of Mandalorians that she used to resent. We're really starting to see her character accept this group more. So morning comes, and they get up early and start scaling the mountain quickly and quietly as they can. They get all the way up to the nest, and Paz Vizsla just throws caution to the wind, ignores the plan, and charges into the nest like a total buffoon. He justifies this action by saying that it's his son, to which I was thinking, you didn't really care before when you were carefully scaling your way up the mountain as quietly as you can. You didn't seem to care when you needed to eat dinner and sleep overnight. My kid'll be fine, he's a tough kid. But the second you get to the nest, charge at anything that has a heat source. That seemed inconsistent to me. 3 baby birds then awaken, obviously the children of this beast, and then the mama comes in. She regurgitates Paz's son whole, unharmed by the way, which makes no sense for several reasons. Why would the bird just keep him there in the stomach for like 12 hours for no reason? How is his son able to breathe down there for that long? I doubt he got much oxygen. And he would have been swimming in stomach acid this whole time, which clearly had no effect on him visibly. I found that to be really goofy. Anyway, there's a cool action sequence, and as Din usually does, he saved the day. And he rescued the kid and brought him back to Paz. Paz thanks him, and in classic Mandalorian fashion, Din responds with, "This is the way." So the party returns to the convent and celebrates as they return the kid. Additionally, they stole the 3 children of the beast that they hogtied and drowned in the water. What do they plan to do with these creatures? I have no clue. But now they have them there. The armorer notices that Bo is missing a shoulder pad and invites her into her shop to make a new one. As the armorer forges the new plate, Bo asks her a little bit about the mythosaur. Bo says that she saw one in the waters in the mines, and the armorer kind of brushes it off and says Mandalorians see things, specifically Mythosaurs a lot, it doesn't mean anything, but Bo still believes that it means something. I really like that we're seeing these two characters bond more and more and start to gain respect for each other, because these are two of the most interesting characters in the show, and I'm really liking the bond that they're developing. And just as I got situated on the couch with my snacks, the episode is over. So as I said at the beginning, this is not a great episode of Mandalorian, in my opinion. I loved all the stuff with Bo-Katan. I loved her interactions with the Armorer. The sequence with Ahmed Best is fantastic, but there is so much in this episode that is just plain stupid. And unfortunately to me, the dumb stuff outweighed the good moments, and I didn't end up liking the episode. I also have to mention that now we are halfway through this season of Mandalorian, and we have no clue what the story of this season is. Last season, there was a very clear through line from episode 1 to episode 8. The story was get Grogu to the Jedi, right? And there were, side quests along the way. There were things that he had to do in each episode, but ultimately we knew everything he was doing was leading us from one point to the other to get Grogu back to his people. I assumed at the beginning of this season that we knew where we were going, that Din needed to redeem himself by going down to the mines in the water and become Mandalorian. But we accomplished that in episode 2, and I don't know what we're doing now. It's really hard for me to get fully invested in this story when I have no clue where we're going. Regardless, I have a lot of faith in this team. They've still done a lot of good stuff. And I'm still looking forward to next week's episode, where, again, I will share my full thoughts. Remember, again, that everything that I've shared today is just my opinion, and if you want to share yours down below, I'd be happy to read. As always, thank you for taking the time to listen to me today, and I will catch you next time. Take care.